English teaching programs in South Korea were created as an active response to the globalization process. These programs were created to improve the students' English speaking abilities, to cultivate open-mindedness, and to improve strong ties and cultural exchange. This is the promise of the Korean government's policy of hiring teachers from 7 diverse nations: the United States, Canada, the United Kingdom, Ireland, New Zealand, Australia, and South Africa. The government promises linguistic richness and cultural exchange. However, some schools ask their non-American English teachers to change their accent, to try and adopt a more American accent, a more standard American accent. And this is a problem that we are going to talk about in today's video. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Should this be your first time seeing my face, welcome to my channel. Please feel free to look around, and I hope that by the end of this video you will decide to become a member of this channel. And welcome to Letty Webster World. And if you are a returning subscriber, 감사합니다. About a month ago or so, a friend of mine from South Africa as well informed me that her school, her co-teacher especially, came to her and told her that she should transfer to another school because she would like to work with someone that has a more American accent. In South Korea, when you are teaching English, you are usually given a 1-year contract. Towards the end of your 1-year contract, you will have 3 options. You can either renew with your school, or transfer to another school, or go back to your home country. So she had originally planned on renewing with her school, but then she was very surprised when her co-teacher was like, yeah, no, we are not going to renew your contract with you, so I advise you to move to another school. And honestly, I was very shocked because I didn't know that this was something that a lot of South Africans go through, because at my school, nothing like that has ever happened to me. My co-teachers have never even suggested that I adopt a more American accent. And I remember having a conversation with some of the South African teachers that I have came across, and I only found out then that this is actually a problem in South Korea. A lot of South African teachers are being told to adopt a more American accent or to sound more American, you know. Instead of saying words like water, they would advise or suggest that teachers say water, which is a problem because that is not their natural accent. And I really wanted us to have this conversation, and I did a bit of some research and actually wrote down a script just so that I can be able to, just so that my thoughts are more clearer. So I have my notes right in front of me, and I'll be referring to them a lot to make sure that I don't miss anything. As I said in my introduction, one of the many reasons why these English programs were created by the government was to improve cultural exchange. And now we have this problem. And I could say that from a linguistic perspective, the demand for non-American teachers to adopt a more standard American accent ignores the inherent value of each accent. It reinforces and perpetuates harmful stereotypes, and it also implies that some accents are better than others. And this preference for American accent often stems from unconscious biases and stereotypes associating American English as standard or better English. It ignores the fact that the English language proficiency and teaching skills can exist regardless of nationality and race. And the demand for American accent perpetuates a baseless hierarchy or a ranking of accents. If we are being honest, this hierarchy often intersects with biases surrounding race and nationality. And I say this because in one of the videos that I made where I spoke about why English teachers are leaving South Korea and moving to China, I got this very, very nasty comment from what I assume is a Korean person, because the comment was so nasty that I actually went onto their profile or channel on YouTube just to see who is leaving such a nasty comment. And when I went through their channel, I realized that this was an older Korean person. And let me read what the comment says in case you have missed it. The comment that I got read, "This black woman's English has a very strong accent. I'm afraid Korean, or Chinese for that matter, kids would take on her black accent. Obviously, the language she was born into and raised in at home is Swahili, and she only learned English at school. I think a person like her should be banned from teaching English overseas because the kids would learn English with an accent." All right. And this person did not just, this is not the only comment that they left, because I responded to this comment and then they left other comments. I was actually very shocked that people can be so mean and so rude on the internet, and that someone can judge your teaching abilities based on how you sound, and which is unfair because this commenter does not know anything about my background and my qualifications. So I really didn't understand why they would leave a comment like this. But hey, this is the internet. The internet is not always a friendly place. Now, I would really like us to break down this comment and how it relates to the discrimination that teachers of color especially face for not having a standard American accent. So this comment raises several concerning issues, and I will be listing them. So the first issue is bias and prejudice. The statement assumes that there is a correct way to speak English, and it associated with whiteness because they stated this black woman. It also implies that accents that are not close to whiteness are associated with lower level of competence, and this reflects implicit bias and prejudice based on race and nationality. Number 2, discrimination. Comments like these can often fuel discriminatory attitude towards teachers from underrepresented backgrounds, and which in results can also make it difficult for them to get opportunities that they may qualify for. Like I said, this person does not know about my background. They don't know about how qualified I am to be doing the job that I'm doing. And number 3, harmful stereotypes. The comment perpetuates the harmful stereotype that black accent or any accent that is not close to whiteness are somewhat inferior or inappropriate for teaching English. It ignores the diversity of black accents and dialects and their value as valid forms of communication. Number 4, this comment puts an inappropriate focus on accents over qualification. Emphasizing nationality prioritizes accents over the crucial teaching skills, and this can have a negative consequence for the students' learning and overall educational quality. And number 5, misunderstanding of how a language is acquired. There are so many factors that should be considered when children learn languages, and these include their environment and their exposure to the language. And exposure to different accents does not automatically mean you are going to adopt those accents. And putting focus on just an accent rather than comprehension of the language is detrimental to language learning. Number 6, missed opportunity for cultural exchange. And this is also one of the reasons why the government hire people from 7 very diverse nations. Limiting student interaction with non-American teachers deprives them of valuable opportunity for cultural exchange and broadening their understanding of the world. It discourages cultural dialogue and appreciation for diverse perspectives. You know, when I say this, I remember one of the conversations that I once had with a student of mine. So there was a time when I wore a head wrap or a doek to work because I was having a really bad hair day. So one of my students, after a lesson, he came to me and he asked, "Are you Muslim?" And I said, "No, I'm not. Why do you ask?" And he asked, "Isn't that a hijab?" And that was such a great opportunity for me to teach him more about African cultures, because I explained to him that a lot of women in Africa wear head wraps. We cover our heads, not because of religious purposes, but because it's something that is a big thing in our culture. And he was like, oh wow, I didn't know that. I thought that women who covered their heads were just Muslim women. So it was a very interesting cultural exchange. He learned something about head wraps, and had that student not had a non-American teacher, they probably never would have learned about how women in Africa also wear their head wraps. That is not just Muslim women who wrap their heads. And the seventh issue is cultural insensitivity. This comment implies that Korean children's English should conform to a specific standard, and it disregards the potential richness of learning diverse forms of English and understanding different cultures. And this reflects a lack of cultural sensitivity and appreciation for a linguistic diversity. And those are the concerning issues that I really wanted to point out. And talking about all of this, the ironic part about all of this whole entire thing is that everyone has an accent. It is impossible to erase accents. And while accent discrimination exists everywhere in the world, the increasingly globalized world that we live in today demands that we get used to hearing and also appreciating different accents and dialects. And so there are a few important things that I think we should remember about accents. The first one being that your accent isn't just how you speak, it is a part of your identity. It whispers the story of who you are, your home, and your journey. Accents carry rich history and they shape our cultural tapestry. To ask someone to erase or to change this intrinsic part of who they are is asking them to hide who they truly are. And accents are also a natural part of language and they represent cultural diversity. As someone who is from South Africa, where we have 11 official languages, I will take the language that I speak in South Africa, which is Setswana. So a lot of people might be confused when they hear the words, the language Setswana, because there's a country called Botswana. Both South Africa and Botswana have Botswana people. And even in South Africa, a lot of times you will find that Botswana people live in the northwest and some also live in the Northern Cape. But then the Tswanas that we speak are not even the same, and there are also different accents and different dialects within the Botswana community. Like someone who is from Rustenburg will not speak the same as someone who's from Mafikeng or someone who is from Kimberley. So accents really are a natural part of languages, and they also represent cultural diversity, because even within the same culture, you can still have different accents. So it is impossible to erase it. And then the second thing that we should remember is that judging someone's teaching ability based on their accent is unfair and is inaccurate. Number 3, exposing children to different accents enriches their language learning experience, and it also promotes cultural understanding. It is important for students who are learning English as a second language to speak to as many people with as many different accents as possible. Because if you only get used to hearing one accent or think that there's only one right accent, you will only be disadvantaging yourself. Limiting yourself to only listening to or respecting one accent is limiting your own learning. And I think that by addressing these issues and fostering a more inclusive language learning environment, we can ensure that all of the students, all of the children who are learning English have equal opportunities to learn and to grow. It is also important to remember that language is a powerful tool for communication, connection, and understanding, but it is not a measure of one's intelligence. And this is cemented by one of my favorite comedians of all time, Trevor Noah. In one of his Netflix special, he said that an accent comes with a connotation. You think you know if someone is smart or stupid because of their accent, and yet the truth is, an accent is not a measure of intelligence. It's just someone speaking your language with the rules of theirs. And so, we should challenge our own biases and prejudice related to languages and accents. And we should also celebrate the variety of English dialects and accent as valuable assets to our global community. So it is very important that we break down the barriers of accent expectations and celebrate the diverse voices that enrich our global community and, as teachers, our classrooms. No matter where we are, let us always champion inclusivity and let us embrace the beauty of linguistic diversity. I hope that you have enjoyed today's video and you have learned something from it. I wanted to make this video because I know that there are so many teachers who are coming into Korea who may have this problem, and also there are teachers who are already in South Korea who are having this problem. And even though I don't really offer a lot of solutions, but I think that the first thing that we can do in order to maybe solving this problem is by talking about it. Please stay tuned for more insightful and interesting discussion from my channel. And do have yourself a beautiful and blessed day, and I'll catch you on the next video. Bye everybody.